Now, is that true? Can you survive in the world without money? No, you cannot. You know, the Bible even says in Ecclesiastes, it brings out the principle that money essentially solveth all problems. Revelation chapter 13, and we're going to start in verse 15. Notice what the Bible says about economics in the end times. It says, and he had power to give life unto the beast, verse 15, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be what? Should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his what? So the Bible says that very soon, the United States, along with the other major countries of the world, are going to be inaugurating an economic system that will be so situated that no man will be able to buy or sell unless he has the mark of the beast. Does that make sense? Now, is this system currently being implemented? Yes, it is. This is from Manuscript Releases, volume 19, page 395. Notice what this says. The great controversy between good and evil is being what? Is there any fellowship between righteousness and unrighteousness? No, there isn't. Under the leadership of Satan, there are men who today are doing all in their power to plunge the world into what? Into commercial strife. Why commercial strife? You see, the reason is because when you can control the economics of a civilization, you can control the people. Now, this is the question, was Jesus controlled? Did Jesus have a lot of money? So the question is, how in the world could Jesus live in this world without a lot of money and still at the same time not be controlled? Do you think that we should understand that secret? Yes, we should. It says, thus Satan is trying to bring about a condition of things that will make the world what? Uncivilized. He desires to see strange things acted out, which God, who is too wise to err, has not what? Now, this is a question. Why is Satan so intent on ensuring that the world becomes uncivilized? Is it simply because he's trying to destroy as many people as he possibly can? Is that it? That's actually not it. We're already in Revelation. Let's turn to Revelation chapter 12. Revelation chapter 12, we're going to start in verse 11. So in context, Christ has just died on the cross, but those in heaven are saying something to those who are on the earth. Notice, ye heaven, and ye that dwell in them, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great what? Because he knoweth that he hath but a short what? Now, Satan's original purpose, as it has always been, is to set up his own independent kingdom. Satan is still trying to jockey for the supremacy of this planet. By ensuing this state of uncivility, it helps to essentially destroy the efficacy of the plan of redemption. Does that make sense? Everything that Satan has been doing from the very inception of sin up until this time has been very strategic. It's been very strategic. Well, I ask this question. What was one of the main reasons why Satan wanted to get Adam and Eve to fall and to take of that fruit? What was one of the reasons? I'll give you a hint. Are Satan and his angels, are they immortal? Do they have a superior level of strength as composed to God's angels? No, they don't. But we're told in the spirit of prophecy that Satan reasoned that if I could get Adam and Eve to bite of this fruit, that we then would have access to that same fruit and our power would be on the same plane as that of God and the angels. His plans have been strategic from the very beginning. It says, but the Lord, yes, our God, will be the ruler of the heavens and the earth if men and women will carry out his requirements. It will be seen that he is ruler carrying out his divine will. Now, does anybody know what this is? What is this a symbol of? This is a symbol of the United States. And unfortunately, we as Americans have been so miseducated that we do not really understand the principles that pertain to our government. And so many of us have been so brainwashed that we blindly accept U.S. foreign and domestic policy. So anything that we hear on Fox News or CNN or MSNBC, we take it hook, line, and sinker because we believe that these outlets are giving us the gospel. This says America's monopoly problem in one what? In one chart. Does America have a monopoly problem? Yes, it does. Can we name some monopolies that are prevalent in the United States? Amazon. Is Amazon a monopoly? Yes, it is. What about Walmart? Yes, it is. You know, it's amazing. Walmart on average makes about $500 billion every year. Every year. Does anybody ever heard of a company called Apple? Now, very many of us have Apple products. Even we have Apple products. It is amazing that Apple's market capitalization is almost $3 trillion. Almost that's just one company. Do you think that America has a monopoly problem? Yes, it does. Now, we're about to get into the reason why that's so important to understand. Now, remember, we're talking about the nature of money. Because if Satan is going to bring about this condition of things in this day and age, we need to understand these mechanisms. It feels like you constantly have fewer choices when it comes to where to get a phone plan, book a flight, or go to the pharmacy. That's because you do. You've also got fewer options in areas you might notice, such as pet food, peanut butter, and coffins. That's because due to monopolization, many segments of corporate America are becoming increasingly concentrated spaces. Increasingly concentrated. On Monday, the Open Markets Institute, an anti-monopoly think tank based in D.C., released a new report, The Concentration Crisis. All right, it says monopolization across the economy, I think, is the core reason for all these economic and social problems that we're talking about that for years have been headwind into progress on anything from raising wages to entrepreneurship to reducing political polarization to reducing corruption and power in politics. So very many of these companies are assiduously lobbying the government, and this is the reason why so many of the policies in America are the way they are today. Is everybody following this? All right. Now, the biggest monopoly in the United States is what? Now, is the Federal Reserve federal? No, it is not. It is a private company, a private organization. Now, why do you think they entitled it the Federal Reserve if it's not federal? For deception. Satan's work is deception from first to last. You see, the dollars and the $100 bills that we have in our wallet really do not mean anything. They're nothing more than promissory fiat currency money. That's all it is. It's literally based upon the good intentions of the American people. Certainly, it's true that Mr. Bernanke, anybody know who Bernanke is? He was a former chair, yes, can drastically affect the economy at the drop of a hat simply by making decisions about the money supply and interest rates. Now, we're not going to go through all of these details. There's a book that I would highly recommend. It's a book called The Creature from Jekyll Island. Anybody ever heard of this book? I would highly recommend, as you have opportunity, to go through that volume. It literally outlines in clear detail the history of the rise and progress of monopolies, especially here in the United States. This says, why do we accept without objection that a small group of people on the Federal Reserve Board wield so much power over our economic well-being? And you know, it's so sad that we are so conditioned to believe that the most of the politicians in this world today genuinely have our best interests at heart. And especially for those of us who are minorities, we think that just because they have our same deep dyed colored skin, that they have our best interest. Now again, this is not as a means of a personal attack upon any politician. But the sad reality is that very many of these men and women are active agents of Satan. And this is why we're told we must pray for them. The Bible says there's spiritual wickedness in high places. Let's turn in our Bibles to the book of 1 Timothy. I know we're going very quickly. 1 Timothy chapter 6. 1 Timothy chapter 6. 1 Timothy chapter 6, we're going to start in verse 9. Notice what the Bible says. It says, "But they that will be rich fall into temptation